that he's going from the Windy City to the Steel City.
So you had texted me this, I believe it was the day before. I think it was on Friday. You said, "Hey Brandon, I think Justin Fields going to end up being a Steeler." And I texted you back almost immediately, and I said, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, the Steelers investing in offense. It doesn't feel very Steeler-esque to me. I said I'd be very surprised. And then, boom, like 24 hours later, Justin Fields becomes a member of the Steeler organization. I'll say this. I'm going to take this actually from a Bears perspective first. I have talked about for months as to why in the hell Chicago would be willing to just give up on Justin Fields before the draft. We know they're going to take Caleb Williams number one overall. That's a given to me. If I was Chicago, Josh, I would have waited. And I would have waited until about July, August, September, because we do know historically there will be one franchise quarterback this year. We saw it last year with Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow. We know one of these teams, their quarterback is going to go down, whether it's in training camp, preseason, or the beginning of the regular season. At that point, Justin Fields is valuable. He would be worth, a third round pick, a second round pick at that point. So, just for a pure value perspective, if I was Pittsburgh, if I was Chicago, I would have held on to the young quarterback. But for Pittsburgh, it's tremendous value, and I think more teams should have went out and obviously up their offer.
Yeah, but first of all, I completely disagree on your take about the Bears waiting on this because they knew they were going to draft Caleb Williams. So why put yourself in a situation where you have two young quarterbacks on the roster like that? One that knows he's going to get traded and one that knows he's pushed the other one out. That's just not a good mix. I don't care what you say about, they're big guys, they're athletes, they push their feelings aside. I don't care. I'm not gonna just allow you to say something like that.
So I'm gonna get less value because I don't want to hurt a guy's feelings.
See, there you go again, trying to make that take.
No, because it's all about value. The NFL is a business. We have both agreed on this multiple times. Why do players like Brandon Ayuk this week went on Twitter and basically told Mike Tomlin to go trade for him? Because as much as San Francisco wants to pay Ayuk, they really can't because of all the money they know they're going to have to pay Brock Purdy. Dallas is in the same situation now, not able to sign a lot of free agents, as we talked about, because Dak, Micah, CD are down the pipeline. Because the NFL in reality, Josh, is all about business and money.
Yes, but again, the Bears don't want to put themselves in that situation.
That's why they've been a loser franchise for 75 years.
Yeah, I know, because they keep missing on the quarterback. For some reason, they thought Mitch Trubisky was the answer. Flop. They thought Justin Fields was the answer. He never got a fair chance.
Justin Fields is a flop. Now, they just traded him away, so they're acknowledging to you he was a flop for their organization.
He never got a fair chance in Chicago, and you know it.
This year was an absolute fair chance. I don't want to hear about this roster was complete garbage because they had DJ Moore, great pass catcher. Cole Kmet, great pass catcher. Khalil Herbert, very good social running back. Their offensive line was ranked 13th by Pro Football Focus, above average. It's not as terrible as what people say. And that defense was pretty good, especially when they traded for Montez Sweat in the second half of the year. Justin Fields was an okay quarterback, but he was never your franchise-saving quarterback.
Did you not see how Justin Fields came on towards the end of the season?
No, I did, because he came on at the end of the season 2 years ago, and he was supposed to take a big leap, and he never did. His numbers were better 2 years ago, and like I said, at the end of the year, he had 2 games. One of them was against Jared Goff and the Lions. The other one was the last game of the year. That was against Jordan Love and the Packers in Lambeau Field in the cold. And it didn't even look close as to who the better quarterback was.
In that case, yeah. But still, if you look at the overall end of the season, he came on and showed that he can be a good
He
quarterback.
gave you flashes of he can be a serviceable quarterback in the NFL. He never gave you the I'm the guy that's going to take the Bears over the top. Now, in saying that, Caleb Williams, I believe, is walking into a lot better situation because of the fact they just got Keenan Allen for a fourth round pick, DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, as I mentioned. The Bears are set up to win more now than what they were 3 years ago. That I'll give you.
Yes, and in that sense, they're screwing over Justin Fields because now they're going on and making all these moves because they know they're bringing in Caleb Williams. Why couldn't you have tried to make these same type of moves when you had Justin Fields? Why? I don't get it.
I mean, circumstances and money create different things. And Chicago, they did go out, they did get him a weapon in DJ Moore. And, now Keenan Allen became available and they essentially decided to make the move.
I think this is a total screw job towards Justin Fields. But let's look at it from the Steelers' perspective. Because now he's coming into the AFC North. And I'll tell you this. By the end of the season, I think he's going to be the Steelers' starting quarterback. I don't think Russ.
So, no. I completely disagree with you. I am here to say right here and right now, if Russell Wilson is healthy, again, this depends on him getting hurt, but if he's healthy, Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers for this entire season. And the reason he will be is because that draft pick that the Steelers will have to give up to Chicago is a conditional 6th-round pick, which basically says that if Justin Fields plays 51% of the snaps or more, that pick becomes a 4th-round pick. If you are Chicago, if you're Pittsburgh, you don't want to give up a 4th-round pick to Chicago if you don't have to. You would rather give up a 6th-round pick, which is why, if he plays well, Russell Wilson is going to be the starter because the Steelers would rather give up the rest of the draft pick and groom Justin Fields. Next year may be a different story, but for this year, this is Russell Wilson's team. He is the starter out of the gate. Justin Fields the backup. I think Pittsburgh's made that very clear.
I think by week 7, you will see Justin Fields on the field as the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And my response to that is why?
Because Russell Wilson's bad play in Denver will carry over to Pittsburgh, and Mike Tomlin will say, okay, I've seen enough. Let's put Justin Fields in.
Hey, did Russell Wilson play bad last year? I mean, he only had 26 touchdowns and 8 picks, and they went on a 5-game winning streak. That's what I was told by you, by the way.
Okay, but when you look at the overall season, let's see.
Oh, guess what? He has more wins than Justin Fields.
Okay, what? Dude, he's an established veteran. I get it. Dude's probably going to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, but the Bears did Justin Fields on bad, but Denver, they did Russell Wilson right by benching him. Pretty much what you're telling me, because Russell Wilson had a better year this year than Justin Fields.
Did you not see all the issues Denver had?
Did you not see all the issues Chicago had?
I think
and
Denver
had more games. By the way, with Jarrett Stidham and less talent.
I think Denver had more issues than Chicago.
And they won more games. By the way, in a tougher division.
Was that... The AFC West was not tougher than the NFC North.
Are you kidding me? Kansas City, now the Chargers were a mess. Now Denver got a little bit of a break because they got them at the back half of the year. But Green Bay came on late in the year. Minnesota watched their quarterback. They had Josh Dobbs and won a couple games here and there, which by the way, if my memory serves me right, the Bears won a game like 13-10 on Monday Night Football when Fields did not play great, and it was a horrible game on that Monday night. Russell Wilson also beat them this year. Denver got their first win against Chicago head-to-head. So, in my opinion, Russell Wilson right now, it's not an indictment on Justin Fields because I think Fields can be a better quarterback. But if you're asking me right now who I take between Fields and Wilson to start just this year, I think it's Wilson because I get him for cheap. Fields can sort of learn the playbook behind Arthur Smith and just get some time to sit and watch the veteran do his thing. And there's no way Russell Wilson, who has never been mistake prone in his career, is going to play bad in Pittsburgh because he has a good offensive line, he has good weapons, and regardless when we think of Arthur Smith, he's a pretty good OC.
Is he though?
I don't know. He resurrected Ryan Tannehill's career.
But did he utilize Bijan Robinson? Did he utilize Drake London? Did he utilize Kyle Pitts?
Well, yeah, but they won 7 games with Desmond Ridder. I mean, he didn't utilize him properly as a head coach / play caller, as we talked about. But as an OC, he was a very competent offensive coordinator.
And yet, what did that get Tennessee? A bounce out.
Wait a minute. That was the argument I was making. You told me Tennessee was the #1 seed 2 years ago. So now you just went back on your own take.
Oh boy, things change and evolve, dude.
I know. Josh Ungar's got to change his take because he listened to me and he knew I was right. So he just repeated what I said 2 weeks ago.
Oh, give me a break. But think about this. Think about what Justin Fields is now walking into. He's got to face the Ravens twice a season. Granted, Pittsburgh stole Patrick Queen from the Ravens, so that'll be interesting. But still, you know Baltimore is always going to have a really good defense. He's got to face Myles Garrett twice a season, and we'll see what Cincinnati does defensively. So it's not an easy situation he's walking into.
We got to move on. We got to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, who me and you have argued about a ton on this show. Aaron, who I have often called, specifically against my Philadelphia Eagles, overrated Donald, has announced his retirement from the National Football League. Aaron Donald in 6 career games against my Eagles has not had 1 sack. He had 5 career hits. I never saw him. He got triple teamed against every other team. My team took care of him. So from my perspective, he's obviously a great player, but I never saw the impact of Aaron Donald besides 2 plays. They were both in the Super Bowl against Cincinnati. He won them that Super Bowl, and I'm never taking that away from the guy. I think he's a great defensive lineman. But again, when it comes to defensive lineman, for me and my money, it's all about how do you do productivity year after year after year. In a big moment, do you show up?
Okay, let's go through his accolades, all right? Over the course of his career, Rookie of the Year, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 10 Pro Bowl selections, 8 first-team All-Pro selections, 111 sacks, and to top that all off, he won a Super Bowl with the Rams in 2021, which that should have been the St. Louis Rams, not the LA Rams. Screw you, Stan Kroenke. Screw you. But that's a different subject for another day. Aaron Donald is an absolute lock for the Hall of Fame. He is one of the greatest defensive linemen of all time.
So why do you think Aaron Donald's a Hall of Famer? I'm not going to deny that. He's absolutely a Hall of Famer. What I'm saying is, I don't think he's the greatest defensive lineman to ever play the game.
I didn't say that.
I don't even think he's in the top 5. I look at guys like Reggie White and Lawrence Taylor. Those two specifically were the 2 best defensive linemen I've ever seen, not even close.
You know Aaron Donald was constantly compared to Lawrence Taylor, right?
Yeah, but guess what? In the biggest moments, Lawrence Taylor was unblockable. You could put 3 guys on him, and you couldn't block Lawrence Taylor. Why don't you go ask the greatest defensive coach ever, Bill Belichick, about Lawrence Taylor? Listen to what he has to say about the greatest LT that's ever played in the National Football League, and that's no disrespect to LaDainian Tomlinson, the great running back for years with the Chargers and the Jets.
Yeah, don't be disrespecting my all-time favorite player, LaDainian Tomlinson.
I can't believe that's your all-time favorite. Why do people love running backs? Somebody explain this affiliation with running backs, the most replaceable position in football. Oh, they can chew. Whoop-de-doo. You know who wins games? Quarterbacks and pass rushers.
Get back to the subject.
Well, the subject is every time I watch Aaron Donald, again, against my team, against Dallas, big playoff games, never showed up. Besides the one game against Cincinnati in the Super Bowl. By the way, where I mentioned this to you, where was he this year in the playoff game against the Lions? Non-existent. I didn't see him. He made one play in the second quarter. That was it.
Okay, I'll give Detroit credit. They came up with a game plan to neutralize him.
Here's the problem. When you're that great of a pass rusher, it shouldn't matter what the opposition does. Your job is to constantly create pressure, or at least force so much pressure that other guys have free lanes, which Aaron Donald, in my opinion, did not do enough of to warrant a top 5 best defensive player of all time moniker.
When teams had to prepare for the Rams, you know they circled Aaron Donald every time.
Circled him and they stopped him. That's my point. The good offensive lines and the good team stopped him.
Why do you think that about? How do you think they did that? It's because they circled him with a red pen and said, "We need to stop him."
And they did. My point is, the great pass rushers, it didn't matter. You could put 5 offensive linemen on him, and they still broke through.
How did Lawrence Taylor, DeMarcus Ware, Reggie White, some of these other great defensive players get to be like that? It's because they developed their games, coaches put the red circles around them, and they still managed to break through.
That's my point. Okay. When did Aaron Donald do it? Because again, what? I watched 6 games against the best offensive line in football. Never laid a hand on my quarterback. Never. I was never afraid of Aaron Donald when I played against him. Never.
Dude, you must have a vendetta against
Aaron Donald. I watch what I see. By the way, I say the same thing about Myles Garrett. When does Myles Garrett ever show up? I'm more scared of T.J. Watt than I am of Aaron Donald. I know T.J. Watt's a game wrecker.
I want you to think about something. Just because you don't get to the quarterback and make a sack doesn't mean you didn't have an impact.
I'm not saying sacks. I'm saying QB hits, pressures, all of it. Do you hit the quarterback?
Just because you don't hit the quarterback doesn't mean you didn't have an impact on the play.
No, that's what it means. Because
I'm cutting you off. I am cutting you off right now.
Go ahead, cut me off, because I'm winning the argument.
No, you're not. You are losing this. You are losing, my friend. You are losing badly. Here's the thing, and this is why I view Myles Garrett as a great defensive player. Think about it.
Because he gets 8 sacks against bad left tackles and then doesn't show up for last 8 games?
Nope, I'm cutting you off, my friend. I'm cutting you off.
So.
Nope, I'm cutting you off right now.
Go ahead and finish.
When the Browns play against whoever, let's say the Cincinnati Bengals, the Bengals have to slide their offensive line to Myles Garrett's side. That opens the lane for other defensive tackles to go get the quarterback. It does,
but guess what? 95 still has to do his job. By the way, he never played the run and down in his life.
It's the same thing with
Aaron
the Rams.
Donald still has to do his job and create the pressure to force other guys to get better pressure.
Opposing teams knew what kind of impact Aaron Donald made, so that's why he constantly got the double teams.
I've never denied he's not a great player. I just said he's a Hall of Famer. I just said I think he's a little bit overrated that people are calling him a top 3 defensive player of all time.
And that's where you're wrong.
I never saw it in the big games. Myles Garrett's going to go down as a top 5 defensive end of all time. I don't see it in the big games.
That's where you're missing the point, though. I watch
pass rushers constantly get to the quarterback, no matter who's blocking them.
Just because you don't lay a hand on the quarterback doesn't mean you didn't have an impact on the play.
What's your job then, to stand there?
No. Okay, If Aaron Donald gets the double team, somebody else on the Rams defensive line is going to have single coverage
Yes, but
against
if
an
Aaron
offensive
Donald is
lineman.
that guy, he can break that double team and still get pressure.
But the guy who has single coverage gets the benefit of that because he gets an easier matchup.
He does, but they're not producing. Which I'm not
How do
putting
you
that on
know?
Donald, but I'm saying I'm not putting that on Donald, but I'm saying if he's that guy, you got to get more pressure, bud.
God, you are frustrating to work with sometimes.
So are you.